Hello, I'm FDX and welcome back to the video. Today we're to talk about Beetroot in Minecraft, because it is something that came to the console version of the game with the most recent major update, and it is very significant because now it represents 4 separate crops in Minecraft, all harvested and planted in exactly the same way, which is the plantation method, where you got your hoed ground around your water. And basically this is really interesting because now there are 4 plants all using the exact same system. It raises the question, which is the best and which should you be planting? Should you have all 4 like I do here, because I just like farming my stuff in Minecraft, or should you focus all your resources on one? And if so, which is the best crop in Minecraft? And is it beetroot? Is beetroot the best or worst? Those are all the questions I'll be answering in today's video. Hopefully you'll do enjoy it. If you do like the farming videos, like it, let me know, because it helps out the channel, and let us know you do like this overly niche content, which again, I think it is very specific for people who like farming, but to me, that's something that's very important in Minecraft, because again, farms are like one of the big goals you can focus on, like getting as many carrots as you can, or something like that, and yeah, the question of whether you should focus on beetroot or not is a very big one. So let's start with the first thing you want to, kind of care about, because we'll do this in several separate sections, which is going to be the rarity of this. So, which is the easiest of the farms to start based on how rare the ingredient is. So, the easiest of the farm to start is unfortunately not beetroot, it is instead actually wheat, because wheat you can get from any village anywhere with the plantations, where it's the most common crop, but you can also find it just by, literally cutting down any tall grass anywhere in the world. So, yeah, wheat is the easiest plant to start by far, and then joint second is potato and carrots, because carrots and potatoes both are found in plantations and villages, but also you just can kill a zombie any time you want, and you've got a 1 in 40 chance of getting a potato or getting a carrot. And since the seed is the same thing there, you can just, get yourself a carrot, and then suddenly, oh, guess what, you're farming it now. So, yeah, that means that these 2 farms are also pretty easy to start, and can be guaranteed on any world as well as this. However, the beetroot farms are not something you can guarantee on every single world in Minecraft. So, at least on the console, where they're limited sized world, and on any other limited sized world in the game, basically you can't guarantee you'll get beetroot, because you need to either have a villager plantation, or you need to find it in some random chest in an abandoned mineshaft. So the reason this is such a problem is because the abandoned mineshaft chests are kind of rare and not always guaranteed, but even if once you go to a village and you're like, okay, I'll go there, it's fine, most worlds have one, then most, or not all villages are going to have beetroot, because they're the rarest of the crops you can actually find. Only 1 in 10 villager plantations will have beetroot crops, which means if you want to get the beetroot seeds that you so need to get this, then that's your only real option. You have to hope you get lucky in villages, or hope you get lucky on abandoned mineshafts, which means that not all worlds can have them. As far as consistency goes, beetroot's not the best, but if you like rarity and you think it's a good thing, then beetroot definitely wins on rarity, but loses on consistency. So yeah, 4th for consistency, 1st for rarity, and I guess coolness, because most of your friends probably won't be farming it for that reason, but still, it's something that you can count as that. So next, let's move on to how easy these things are to farm, because the thing is about carrots and potatoes that make them so incredibly easy to farm is the fact that all you have to do is, again, like you grab the crop, and then you've got 1 stack, and you plant it down, you grab the crop, and it's this easy to just plant and reharvest and stuff, which isn't something you can say for wheat, because wheat, unlike carrots and potatoes, is slightly harder to harvest and farm, because you've got to have a separate stack of stack of seeds, a separate stack of wheat, and it's kind of annoying because you can't plant the same stuff you're harvesting. You have to have a separate stack, and it also means that you have to have so much wheat for each thing you're using. So yeah, there's kind of a downside there. But one thing that's even harder than so carrots win this one, by the way, in case you're curious, because carrots you literally just farm, harvest, farm. Every now and then you're gonna get a poison potato when you're harvesting. It's a 1 in 50 chance. So if you do this long enough, then you'll eventually see they'll get a poisonous potato. So that's about just over 50. We should somewhere in there have gone a poisonous potato, which I'll check my inventory for right now. Oh, we didn't. Well, that's lucky. But once you do get your poisonous potatoes, then you're like, oh, what do I do with these now? And it's just one whole extra issue of what you do with. Like, I've got 10 there. Why do I even have those? Not necessarily sure, but it's something that I have anyway. So yeah, as far as easiness to farm, carrots win. Potatoes are probably 2nd, and then wheat is 3rd. And sadly, beetroot comes last in this one too, because the annoying thing about harvesting beetroot is, again, it's got the same issue of wheat, where the seeds and the crop are different. And if you're wondering why this is an issue, it's because once you harvest the thing, then you can't focus entirely on you can't focus all your efforts on either, harvesting the crop again and doing that, or expanding your farm. Expanding your farm or eating the food. You have to literally divide both, because even once let's say we're at the point where we're like, okay, well, our farm's big enough, let's eat all our food, you can't eat your beetroot seeds. But even if you're on the other side of things, where you're like, okay, I'm expanding my beetroot farm as fast as I humanly can, well, you can't plant your beetroot, you can't turn them into seeds. You just have to be like, well, I've got beetroot that I don't really need right now. And even if this farm is like 1/1000 of what it's going to be, you're still going to have your beetroot lying around, because guess what, you can't turn them into seeds, which is one of those just annoying things about beetroot farming. It's definitely the hardest to farm, because you always get 1 per crop, and the rest is beetroot seeds, which means that you need a really big farm to sustain what is beetroot stew. It takes 6 of those to make a beetroot stew, which means you need 6 crops just per single food you're going to get, and then you get a bunch of beetroot seeds, which you don't necessarily need. So yeah, as far as the second category here goes, which is easiness to farm, definitely the last place there too. So if they're last place in the first 2 categories, are they going to win this last one here, which is do the final product, which is the best final product? And this one kind of depends on what you're looking at it by, but beetroot does have objectively the best product in terms of just how good beetroot beetroot stew is compared to these other things. So if you count these products by the best thing you can get from them, so bread, baked potatoes, let's not say golden carrots because most people don't combine it with gold. Let's just say carrots, baked potatoes, wheat, and beetroot. Then carrots come last in that because they just restore 1.5, hunger bars and give very little saturation. Bread and potatoes are both pretty good as far as hunger, 2.5 bars each, but they don't give you much saturation. It's something like 6 on a scale of 0 to 14. But if you if you actually go over to the beetroot and you make beetroot stew, it's the best food by far because it gives you 3 full hunger bars. So let's actually craft some right now with a bowl. It gives you 3 full hunger bars, something you might not have known. It gives you 7.2 saturation, so half the max. And basically, by hunger restored, it's like the 5th best food in the game. By saturation restored, it's like the 6th best food in the game. And for something that comes entirely out the ground, this is pretty darn cool. If I eat this beetroot stew, I probably won't go hungry for the rest of the video, which is really, really nice. And that means that beetroot stew wins by just food quality itself. But once you consider all the other factors that need to get you there, it's like, oh, actually, probably not. Because bear in mind, carrots can stack up to 64, and it's so easy to get them. So that's kind of nice. Baked potatoes can stack up to 64, and it's so easy to get them. Even wheat, where you need 3 stacks of 64 to make 1 stack of wheat, that's still something you can. 1 stack of bread. Then still, you've got the stack of 64 bread, which is pretty good, 2.5 hunger. So your hunger per stack is really amazing. But if you compare that to beetroot stew, it's really, really mediocre, where you technically only can get 5 per stack, depending on how you want to count things. So if you're curious as to what I mean there, and what even I mean, and I guess we'll move into the final category here of practicality as the final kind of take cool things in there. Well, basically, the thing about beetroot is it only stacks up to 64, like every other food by itself, which is nice, but because you need 6 of it to make a beetroot stew, so that's enough beetroot for now, right? 8. You need 6 of it to make a beetroot stew. That means that you can only really have 10 beetroot stews per stack, and since one of those things needs to be a bowl too, then you're going to need to have yourself, 2 items just to make yourself 5, 2 items to make 10 separate bowls of stew, which means that you're really getting 5 per stack, and those 2 items have to be very deliberately maneuvered, which is really, really weird. Even if you have 2 stacks to 1 bowl, that's still something like, 7 bowls of beetroot per, 7 bowls of beetroot stew per stack, which is really, really bad compared to 64. Then consider the fact that once you do drink your beetroot stew, again, it was really good, and I don't need to drink another one now, but let's say we did drink this, and we're like, okay, well, that's done with, let's move on to the next one. You need a crafting table every single time you want to craft this, because bear in mind, it's a 7-item recipe, you cannot craft this in your inventory. So, yeah, you need to have crafting tables everywhere, and you only get 7 items per stack, and it's only, it's a good step above these other foods, but is it worth going through all that extra effort? I don't think so. I think the end conclusion here, so the final category, I think the end conclusion here is that carrots are great if you want to have a really easy farm. I think wheat is great because not only do you get your wheat farm going and it's really easy to start and all that sort of stuff, but also if you don't need it, if you don't need it, you can get a bunch of wheat, you can turn that into bread by yourself and have stacks of it, or you can make it into hay bales, which is really nice. With potatoes, you're getting your potatoes, which turn into, baked potatoes really easily if you got an automatic thing like me, but you also get the poisonous potatoes, which you might want to do something with, maybe. But again, you have all these extra uses for things, but when it comes to, golden carrots, as an example for the carrot thing, but when it comes to beetroot, the example is just you harvest it, you go through all effort, and then you get 5 bowls of beetroot stew per stack, which is good, but it's definitely not significantly several times better than all these other things, and you can turn into red dye at some points, which I think is kind of cool. But as far as actual practical uses, beetroot just really doesn't have many. It's a hard farm to start, it's the most annoying one to keep going, and your end reward is just having a food which is tricky on top of that. And I think, again, beetroot's really great if you want to be a herbivore in your world, you want to only eat things that, don't come from, animals, and I don't know why you do that in Minecraft, but if that's your goal, I think beetroot are great because they allow you to do that at the best way possible. But the truth be told is there's just so much effort involved in doing this that you don't want to do every time you eat. In Minecraft, you want to turn eating into an easy thing, so you can focus on either making these giant farms, or making, your giant water slides in the background there, or flattening your giant ground, or making your sugarcane farms. Whatever it is you want to do in Minecraft, you want to focus on that. You don't want to focus on being well, I need to have 50 crafting tables, one for every area. I want to make sure that I bring 20 stacks of beetroot just to even get a decent amount per bowl, and just all these separate factors you have to go through that makes you go, yeah, beetroot stew just isn't very practical. So yeah, if you're harvesting crops, if you're making crops in Minecraft, I'd say beetroot wins if you want to have a efficient crop, or if you're an omnivore, or if you just want to have something that's kind of rare and cool. But if you want to have something that's practical, it's either going to be carrots, it's going to be wheat, or it's going to be potatoes. And I hope you did all enjoy this video. I hope it informed you of sort of something about farming. Let me know if you want to see more of these in the future, because again, I'm really passionate about which farms you should do and stuff like that, and efficiency and whatnot. If you are too, let me know with a like on the video, share it if you liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here. If you don't see stuff like this, let me know that in the comments too, and I guess I'll see you all in the next video. So, goodbye everyone.